Hey everyone, and today's video is all about bidets. And we're going to talk about the different types of bidets and the pluses and minuses of each type of bidet. And then we're going to be installing one right here in my own bathroom to help eliminate the need for this. So stay tuned. Before we get into the installation, let's take a quick look at how to choose a bidet. Bidets seem to be making a comeback lately. And there's a lot of different options out there and price ranges. And so I'm going to present to you a few options just to help you understand which type of bidet might work for you. The first option is a standalone bidet. This is the most expensive option by far, not just because the product is expensive, but because most households in America, or for that matter, really in the world, don't have the plumbing for a separate standalone bidet. So in order to accommodate something like this, you'd either have to have a home that already has this type of plumbing. Some homes built in the 70s or whatever, European homes have them. But otherwise, you'd have to do an extensive remodel in order to make this work. So I'm kind of throwing this option out right off the bat, and then we'll start with the cheaper options. So the first of the cheaper options is the handheld or wand. This is, to me, just a glorified kitchen faucet sprayer. You could see that for the most part, these products, they have like a T fitting on the toilet fill valve and just a hose and a wand. This is the cheapest option, ranging between $30 and $50. I threw out this option because I think it could be messy. I mean, think about what this is. You're going to be either kind of standing up a little bit or putting it between your legs. I think this could be messy because you're dealing with rebound spray on either your hand or on the nozzle. The water is also not heated. Maybe this is a good option to wake yourself up in the morning, but I think I'm going to stick with coffee. But if any of you have this wand and you like it, leave a comment and let us know in the video comments. Next one is the seat add-on option. And this is usually between a $50 and $100 range. They install under your existing seat. You can see in the right-hand photo where the seat kind of bolts through it. And typically these don't require an electrical outlet, but I've seen some where they do have a heated option, but typically these aren't heated and they're the cheaper ones. It's better than the wand in that you don't have to get your hand down in there, and it does spray from, automatically while you're sitting there, but it's still cold water and no drying option, which will leave you with a cold, wet, beehole. So I don't like that option either. Then the seat replacement. I think this is the best option if you get the right one. These typically run from $200 up to $500 and even more. A lot of them require electrical outlet because they need, power for the different functions and the heating, but they're all otherwise the same easiness to install. These have a variety of features like heated seat, lighted seat, Brol pre-mist, heated water, pulsating and pressure control, air dryer, deodorizing, etc. But this is the option I went with because I wanted at least the heated water and the drying feature. This is the bidet that I purchased. It was an open box special on eBay, and it's a new Toto Washlet C100. And I'll flash a picture of one of the suppliers that carries it so you can see the current price, and you can actually look up some information about it. This one has the features that I was looking for. Like I mentioned, I wanted the toilet seat replacement, I wanted the dryer, and I wanted warm water. And so this one has all that stuff. It has all the fancy options like pulsating, and you can adjust the water pressure. It can do oscillating, and it has a dryer feature, as well as a bunch of other things like the pre-mist, and I believe it has does it have the lit seat? I think it has the heated seat, maybe not. I'll check that out. But just to keep in mind, I'll flash up the next level up of this product is the C200, I believe. So the reason why you might want to purchase the C200 is I know that one, my buddy has that one. It does have the heated seat, and I believe it's a lit seat, maybe has the nightlight seat too. It also has, more importantly, the wireless remote. So one thing to consider if you're going to consider this product here is if you're a heavy-set person or you have limited mobility in your neck or shoulders and you don't think you can turn and look and press those buttons while you're sitting on this, you might want to consider the C200 that has this removed and instead this keypad removed. Instead, it's a remote control that you can mount up on the wall higher. I know for sure the other feature that it has that this one doesn't is user presets. I didn't think that was a big deal, and like I said, I got this on a open box sale, so I saved about $100. But yeah, like I said, the C200 has those features, which I think are quite desirable for people who feel like that would be a challenge to turn and reach and to operate those functions when they're down by your thigh there. So let's get started installing it. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is take off the toilet seat, the old one, and they're all different, but for the most part, there's some kind of tab in there, and with something like a Phillips head or a flathead screw that you can get in here, and then from underneath, you're just going to hold the little plastic nut underneath and screw it off. Okay, next we're going to go underneath the toilet here and we're going to disconnect the supply line. Like I said, most of these bidet adapters, the splitter that you install goes on the toilet, not on the supply line. So we're just going to disconnect the supply line from the toilet. And I like to use these little Tupperware containers. They're real small and they get into tight spaces, and put it underneath there. So to catch, there's a little extra water will come out when you take that supply line off the toilet, even after you flush it. So we're going to go ahead and close off the valve here. I'm just tightening it up until it's shut. And then we'll give the toilet a flush. That'll empty most of the water out of the tank. Next, we're going to install the water line splitter. Again, this gets installed on the toilet side, and it just splits the water. Once you connect the supply line back up to it, it just splits the water so that it can come out here and here. No Teflon tape is needed on this because it has washers, and the supply line also contains a washer. So the rule of thumb is if the hose has a washer, it doesn't need Teflon, right? A rubber washer. So, and the other thing is you saw me use the pliers to loosen the old one because sometimes they do get tight after a while. This for the most part needs to go on hand tight. You don't need it to wrench it on with pliers. Just tighten it up nice and snug and hand tight. You maybe get it a little eighth of a turn with some pliers if you want to, but really hand tight's fine. Okay, the next thing we're going to install is the seat holder, which is an interesting piece of equipment here. It's got these weird rubber, like essentially they're like kind of drywall anchors. They'll go inside, and when you tighten the screw on the top, it snugs it from the bottom. I don't know, it's kind of weird. The only thing to be aware of is you probably can't see it because it's embossed into this white plastic, but this says back and front. So make sure back is back and front's front, obviously. We're not going to screw it in tightly because notice that these are adjustable to make sure that the seat fits around the lid properly. So we're just going to press it on. They also say to push these through those holes, it can be kind of tight. So maybe you can put a little water on these things to lubricate it, and that'll make it go down in. So I'm going to do that right now, and I'm going to push it in and just tighten it down just a little bit, just so I can get the seat on and check for fitment. There was some tape over these things. Make sure that these little steel clips are there and that you remove the tape from them. Actually, one of them had tape on it. The other one was taped to the underside of the seat. So you might miss that. Just make sure that you have both of these steel clips in there and there's no tape on it. Now we're going to go ahead and slide the seat into here until it makes a clicking sound. Hopefully I can do this without completely blocking the camera, but we'll see. Basically, I'm setting it on the front of it, and then I'm going to just push it back into there, onto the flange, until it clicks. Okay, now that we have it in, what we're looking to do is just center the flange, and what we want to do is just make sure that the toilet rim lines up all the way around. And I guess that's about as good as it gets since I'm backed up all the way onto the tank. But it looks pretty good. There's a little hangover here. So basically as far back as I can get. Now to get it off, there's a little button, a little gray button here by the deodorizer output. You'll just click that and you can pull it off. And we can go back and forth and move this flange by basically just push down on it, and then you can move these little screws in and out and just get them kind of even. And you just go back and forth until you like what you see. Then the final time you'll take it off and tighten these down snug. Okay, so after a couple rounds of loosening the screw or tightening the screws, pushing it in, checking fitment, pulling it back off, loosening, moving the little screws around. I got it the way I want it. It's basically all the way back to the seat here because this is a small tank. Although this is a Toto toilet, so it's matching brand, so it should work. So it fits pretty well. So that's where we're going to go. I'm going to pull it back off and tighten those things down firmly, and then we'll move on. Okay, now we're ready to hook up the water line here, and I took all the packaging off here. Again, no Teflon tape because it contains a rubber O-ring in here, and it just connects to the T on the inlet. Okay, now let's turn the water on at the valve and we'll check for leaks. Alright, water's back on, there's no leaks. A couple things about those angle stop valves for your toilet. The type that just kind of the angle stops that just kind of screw out, not the ones that do the quarter turn, but the one I have is the kind of just kind of screw out and out. Those are kind of gate valves. Those do tend to leak or do tend to get seized up. Couple tips that I learned from Steve Lav, another YouTube plumber guy that's real popular, is when you notice that when I did the water, I cranked it in slowly, let it fill slowly. If I see a leak, then I can turn it right back off. But since there's no leaks, I just went ahead and undid it all the way out. Now, one thing is do it all the way out until it stops and then just ease it in about a quarter of a turn, and that will keep it from binding all the way open, because that's one of the most common things I see with those gate style angle stops is people open them all the way up tight and it will rust or freeze open like that and you won't be able to use it again. So just always unscrew it all the way, and when you feel it stop, give it a quarter turn back. The other thing you'll see that I did was sometimes it can leak out of the stem, and there's a nut around that stem. You just take a pair of a channel locks or a pair of pliers and just give that packing nut just a little tighten, and that usually will stop that leak. The last thing to do is there's a piece of tape here on protecting the jet from delivery, right? So make sure you take that off. Don't forget that. You might mess it up if you leave this tape on and the door is trying to open. And then finally, we just need to plug it in. Here's a problem. No power outlets. So the next part of our video is going to be dealing with electrical, which is probably going to be a common problem for you guys watching, is most people don't have electrical outlets around their toilet. I talked to my interior designer, my wife, and she does not find it appealing to run an electrical cord up over the wall, this little pony wall here, which I'll show you more in a moment. There is an outlet on the other side of this wall, but that's the next part is, well, first of all, I'm going to just try it out, make sure everything works on it. So I'm just going to run an extension cord, but then I'm going to actually show you how to add another outlet and tie into it through a wall. Okay, well, I got it temporarily powered up on an extension cord, and let's just try out the features. Now, once I plugged it in, these things lit up right here, these little lights here. And I don't have obviously the top seat on here. But let's see if this works. There's an on-off switch right here. Okay, so I pressed that button and the on-off switch lit up. Let me zoom in a little bit here. Yeah, if you can see that. So I pushed on and that lit up. And let's try the rear and all the different jet features here. Hopefully, I don't know if you need pressure on it. Let's just see if I put this over here. You do. I need to hold down the seat because I could feel it when it definitely is a heated seat. I could feel the warmth in the seat, but yeah, you had to hold it down a little bit to test it out. See it working yet. Oh, maybe I need to set the pressure. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. The front worked. Let me try the rear again. Ooh, that water's cold. It may just be taking its time to... There is a tank inside this unit, so it may have to fill up the water tank. I'm not sure. Yep, okay, it's spraying. Oh, there it goes, and that's oscillating. Sorry you can't really see it very well from the top, but there's the front one. There it goes, oscillating. The water's cold. I'm feeling it coming down on my fingers, but probably just needs time for the tank to heat up. So, oh, here it is, temperature of water. Okay, well, it probably needs time to heat up. I'll check on that later and make sure the heater works. Okay, let it stop. Let's test the dryer, and then we'll call it done. There it is. And the deodorizer fan is working too. So I think we got all of our functions working. Let's go ahead and work the electrical.